I have already discussed Proud Boys member Dominic Pezzola. Pezzola came to the Capitol on January 6 with deadly intentions.
The name Dominic Pezzola became synonymous with January 6th after he was called out 12 times at former President Donald Trump's second impeachment trial. Tonight, in a WUSA 9 exclusive, Pezzola's family speaks publicly for the first time with Chief Investigative Reporter Eric Flack. You will also hear a stunning claim from Pezzola's new attorneys. They say what happened January 6th at the U.S. Capitol wasn't a riot, it was a social justice movement. We've got tough questions tonight in an interview you will only see here.
These are the two faces of Dominic Pezzola, identified in court documents with the nickname Spaz or Spazzolini, charging the Rochester man with 11 criminal counts, 8 of them felonies, for his role at the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. Photos and video allegedly showing Pezzola, quote, at the forefront of a mob charging the Capitol grounds. The other image of Dominic Pezzola, the guy his family calls Nick or Nicky, a father and former Marine Corps reservist with no criminal history, always holding tight to those he loved.
It's so hard probably for people to reconcile that person with the person that is being accused of these crimes.
I guess you would have to think, what took place was a single day. A single day does not determine a man's entire life.
Lisa McGee and Dominic Pezzola have been together for 20 years, share a home and 2 daughters, Maria, age 20, Angelina, 16. McGee asked us not to show the girls' faces because she says the impact of their father's arrest has been devastating.
Him and my youngest daughter have a bond like no other. She has gone from a straight A student to D's and F's. My children have lost friends. People have turned their backs on children.
We sat down for an exclusive interview with McGee at the New York City offices of the attorneys representing Pezzola in his criminal case. In court documents, Pezzola is accused of, quote, robbing a police officer of his riot shield and then using that shield to break a Capitol window, allowing him and others in the mob to enter the halls of Congress. Prosecutors say he smoked a victory cigar once inside. Pezzola is also charged with conspiracy for pre-planning and coordination on January 6 as a member of the Proud Boys. A search of Pezzola's home after his arrest did not turn up any weapons, but investigators claim they did find a thumb drive with instructions on how to make homemade firearms, bombs, and poisons. 2 different judges have denied Pezzola bond, ruling he is a danger to the community, ordering him detained at the D.C. jail until his trial. One of the judges called Pezzola, quote, the tip of a spear that pierced the United States Capitol.
I think he needs to stay in jail.
We asked Nehemiah Romani, a former federal prosecutor, why judges have been reluctant to grant pretrial release to Capitol breach defendants like Pezzola.
Even though their past may have been clean and there was really no sort of criminal conduct like this, the actions in this case were so egregious and so outrageous, it'd be very difficult for a judge to release the most violent of these individuals back into the community.
To know what's going on here is truly a travesty.
Martin Tancliffe and Stephen Metcalf, who recently took over Pezzola's defense, say his pretrial detention is unjust, arguing judges have ruled against releasing Pezzola on bond primarily because of count 6, destruction of government property and aiding and abetting. Why that one? Out of all the things Pezzola is accused of, it's breaking out that window in the Capitol that the courts have defined as an act of violence and grounds to deny bond, keeping Dominic Pezzola from returning home to his family before trial.
And Lisa, you know that there are people out there, though, who will hear that and say, I don't care. I'm so angry about what happened on January 6th. So what do you say to those people?
It was a broken window.
A judge called him the tip of the spear.
And judges are supposed to stay unbiased. They're supposed to keep their personal opinions out of court cases.
And what I'll add to that, Eric, is you could disagree with my statement. You could disagree with your interpretation of these events and Dominic's participation in it. That still does not take away from the fact that the law applied is the law applied. And for purposes of what we're speaking about, bail, Dominic's case warrants a situation where he should be out on bail pending trial. He is still presumed to be innocent.
Pezzola's legal team now plans to file another appeal for his pretrial release, arguing that broken window and his other alleged crimes here at the Capitol don't warrant him being detained in jail before his trial. They also believe Pezzola is one of a number of January 6 defendants being held to a double standard, treated more harshly than those criminally charged in social justice protests in the spring and summer of 2020.
I would say a number of individuals have been made scapegoats. I think Dominic is just inclusive in it. This is a day that we have turned into something that it really wasn't. This was social justice.
Tankliff repeated that theme throughout our interview.
So when you saw all that video, though, from January 6th, you didn't see a violent insurrection?
What I saw was individuals who were protesting and advocating for their rights and creating a movement.
That movement is referred to by the Department of Justice as a breach on the U.S. Capitol that resulted in one of the largest criminal prosecutions in U.S. history, now approaching 500 arrests. As Dominic Pezzola awaits another attempt at being released on bond, Lisa McGee and their two daughters continue to struggle with the fallout of his alleged actions on January 6th. In a statement to WUSA 9, the daughters wrote, "We miss our father and want him home," calling Pezzola the rock of our family.
It begs the question then, is there any part of you deep down that's angry at him?
I'm not angry with him. I'm not. I miss him. And my heart hurts. And my children's hearts hurt. He should be home.
One final thing to keep in mind here. We spoke with another former federal prosecutor and a former state's attorney for Prince George's County, Glenn Ivey. He told us pretrial release is supposed to be the norm for the majority of criminal defendants in this country, and that complaints about judges unfairly denying defendants bond is not new. It's just an issue that has primarily targeted defendants of color until now.